You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Hi, everybody. It's Miss Jen here on The Experience, and this is Talkin Shop, your favorite place to get all your information about what is coming up so you can make sure to get it on your pull list at your local comic shop and show them the love and not miss a single thing because you know you don't want to. I also have exciting news today. I know you guys have all been super psyched about our big, what we call the 2K giveaway. We reached our 2,000 viewer mark and have completely smashed that number thanks to all you guys. And so when we get to the end of the show, we're going to be giving away a slab comic for you guys. I don't know what it is. This is a surprise to me too. I know it's something awesome. All you need to do between now and the end of the show in the comments is to put this handy dandy thing. Just hashtag all capitals, please. It has to be capitals, EXP2K. That's what you need to put in. You only have to do it once. It doesn't benefit you in any way to do it more than once. Just put it in the comments at some point. Today we have an extra special set of guests. We get to talk to Stan Sakai and also Daniel Fuji. They're all part of you recognize Stan's name, of course, but they're all part of a really cool publishing imprint called Dogu. It's actually been around longer than you actually think. And we're going to get to talk to them about their new plans for what they're going to do going forward as an imprint under Dark Horse, which is awesome. Thanks, everybody. I see you guys loading it in there. You guys are doing it just right in all caps. Thank you. All right. We're going to come right back after this. Everybody, thank you. And I'm so glad to see everybody here. Remember that this is an interview. I love doing the interview parts, but also I love it to be interactive. So if you guys have questions that you'd like to ask at any time during the show, just type them to the comments. I'm going to try to get to them all, but if I miss them, it's okay to like poke me again. If I skip it, it's just because I think I'm already going to cover it in the interview. So I just don't want you guys to think I'm ever ignoring you guys because you're so important to us. Thank you so much, everybody that's doing the hashtag. Let's welcome onto the show Stan Sakai, Daniel Fuji, and Matthias Lewis.
Hi, I'm Stan.
I'm Daniel.
Hi, Stan. Oh, I think this is awesome because it does the same thing I always do when I have a guest and I'm under the wrong person's name, which is hilarious. So now Daniel will be playing the part of Stan today.
It's an honor.
Well, this is awesome. Okay, so I was doing a bunch of reading ahead of getting to do this thing that I'm very honored to do. And what I had not realized, I knew that I love the character of Usagi. I had no idea that you had put so much history and actual objects and the way that things actually work for Ronins. I didn't realize that you had done all of that, Mr. Sakai. How did you always intend to do that, or is it just something that you worked into it later?
That's something I really wanted to do because Usagi takes place in a very specific time and place. It's early 17th century Japan. It's about the early 1600s. And I wanted to include the culture, the history, the folklore of Japan, just to make the stories more authentic, much richer. And I try to do as much research as I can within reason. And I love doing the research.
It's amazing. It was even acknowledged by an award that was given in conjunction with kind of an education kind of bent. Was it something that you were aware was coming that was even out there as a possibility for an award?
Which award? I've received a number of awards, Parents' Choice Award.
It was one that was specifically mentioning the fact that you were putting in information about
that's a museum.
The
Cultural Ambassador Award from the Japanese American National Museum. And that was really special. to be recognized like that. And Usagi's even been used in the classrooms, even from elementary school level all the way up to the college level. And it's humbling and it's an honor to be used as a textbook. It's really neat.
Yeah, it's I know there's other comics and graphic novels that are out there that have, they tie to historical context, but it feels like it was very much your intention from the beginning, even given, Usagi's name is tied to somebody that is actually a samurai. Was this something that you just like learned about, or did you study to find just the right name to tie to him?
I grew up in Hawaii, and just down the street from my house was the old Kapahulu theater. And every weekend they would show the chambara, or the sword fighting, Japanese sword fighting movies. Mm-hmm. And let's see, as a kid, I used to go there every weekend. And I remember Inagaki's Samurai Trilogy, starring Toshiro Mifune as Miyamoto Musashi. Musashi was a real samurai, and he was known as the Kensei, the sword saint. Okay. And he was innovative. He was very dedicated to the craft. He also had his flaws, but he was like the epitome of what a samurai warrior should be. And that stuck with me. When I wanted to create a comic book, the first thing I thought of was, what if I go back to my childhood and do something with Musashi? And along the way, he just changed from a human to a rabbit. And next year, it would be Usagi's 40th anniversary. So I've been doing this for a long time.
Did you ever hear from anyone tied to that production that they noticed that you had done that and liked it?
No. Well, the story of Musashi has been told so many times.
Yeah.
And it's based upon the book by Eiji Yoshikawa. And like I said, it's been done so many times. My favorite is the Inagaki version, the trilogy.
Mm-hmm. So the idea to have this character be a rabbit, which I want to get into that. Is the character an actual rabbit? Or is this something that like is not related at all? We just kind of like Rocket Raccoon says he's not a raccoon.
He is a rabbit, but the entire world is funny animals. It's an anthropomorphic world. So a big talking rabbit is not out of place there. If a human were to enter his world, then yeah, that would look weird. However, because everyone else is funny animals, that Usagi just blends right in.
Seems like early on it made sense to kind of mix your worlds together with other kind of related characters. It's like, is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle world the thing he's crossed over into the most?
He has, and I just finished a Ninja Turtle miniseries with Usagi and the Turtles, and it was fun. It's called Where When. The 5th issue just came out. Is it last month?
Yeah.
And the trade paperback comes at the end of the year, and that was from IDW. And it's always fun to cross over with the Turtles. The way that happened is that Usagi and the Turtles started off roughly the same time in 1984. And at that time, there were very few black and white funny animal books. So we gravitated towards each other. Even though they're on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, we started writing each other letters. And we met for the first time at early San Diego Comic-Con. And our friendship grew from there. And we've crossed over a number of times, both in comic books as well as animation and in merchandising.
Video game too.
Oh, they have the video games. Yeah. They're always fun to work with. Then even for a while, Mirage Publishing, who Kevin and Peter created, were publishing Usagi. So even closer there.
Amazing. 62 Lefty Blues is a regular viewer of ours, so that they have the Fantagraphic set.
Oh yeah, the thick ones. Yeah, those are great.
It's actually hard to find those, honestly. And then Kyle says, for 30 years, been the cornerstone along with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I can definitely attest to his obsession with animals doing people things. Okay, so here's a crazy question. This is just like way out there. You chose rabbit for Usagi. If there was another chance to change him into a different animal, would you? And if that would be true, what would you try?
I would not change Usagi just because he looks best with his ears tied up.
It's true.
I mean, no other animals really.
Come to mind.
It wouldn't work with any other animal, would it? Not for big ears, but they're on the side.
Elephant Usagi.
Elephant Usagi. It was
Zosagi. Zosashi.
Also,
Musashi.
in Japanese folklore, the rabbit is always a good guy. And the stories about the rabbit and the jellyfish, or the rabbit and the monkey, it's always a rabbit that protects the human or is a really good guy. And so, in Japanese mythology, there's a rabbit in the moon, not a man in the moon. It's a rabbit pounding mochi rice. And so, again, we have that connection with Japanese mythology, Japanese culture, and folklore.
That's wonderful. I didn't realize there was all that tied into the creature also as being symbolic. That's amazing.
It's actually a hare, a Japanese hare, but it's like we're splitting hairs at that time. I should record that. You said it in all my interviews.
Puns for the win. Eddie Ivanovi says a kangaroo would be interesting. Power kicks.
Kangaroo. Have you ever done a kangaroo?
I never have.
Oh, yeah.
I try to stick to animals within Japan. However, I make exceptions. Like Gen is a rhinoceros, and
that's true.
So
you don't have rhinos in Japan?
Just in the zoo.
Yeah. I know that fairly recently, in the last year or so, you introduced a new, younger kind of like acolyte for Usagi. Was it to help further the story that Usagi was on, or you just felt like you needed more characters for his universe?
Well, I think you're referring to Yukichi, and Yukichi is Usagi's cousin, which he didn't know about. And Yukichi represents Usagi. It's kind of like Usagi when he was younger and just starting out. He was more naive. He wanted to prove himself. Whereas now Usagi is the more mature. He's more the master now, and so. I kind of like their interaction, because you have the grandmaster teaching the student. However, the student is also an accomplished warrior himself. So it's a different role for Usagi. I don't know if how long Yukichi would stick around, but right now he's around for the long haul. But there's a storyline that I want to do in maybe about 10 years from now. Okay. They'll make a big change in both their lives.
Ooh. Oh, wow. I like that.
Wow. And that's the thing. I own Usagi. I write and draw.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
And I can do whatever I want. I remember first starting out, it was, what can I do next month? I need something for the next month's story. Now I'm laying down foundations for story arcs that won't see print for another 5 or 10 years from now. And it's kind of nice. It's neat that I can lay down those foundations, and I can plan far in advance. So it's kind of neat.
That's amazing. Tell us a little bit about your interactions and working with Sergio Aragones on the group things. This just sounds like I every time I've met him, I just thought I want to keep him as my own spirit animal. I don't know what there is about him.
Sergio is great. He's one of those people that as soon as you meet him, you have a Sergio story. Yeah. And the way I met him is that I found his number in the phone book. Back then, there were phone books. You remember? I don't know if you're old enough to remember those big books with people's phone numbers in it. And his number was in the phone book. So I wrote him a letter and sent it off to him. And he sent me a reply back. We got together, and that was about maybe 45 years ago, and we've been friends ever since. We've traveled the world together, Hawaii, Finland, Spain. And if you're ever lost in Spain, there's no one else, no better person to be lost with than Sergio.
And so why? What does he bring to you?
He takes charge, and the new Barajas airport had just that other airport had just been built, and we're just used to the old one. Suddenly we had to transfer, and it's like 45 minutes to get to the other airport. And he just said, this way, we hopped in the car and zoomed over, and we went through everything. But then the plane took off just as we were getting to the gate. So we're stuck in the airport for like another 6 hours.
I mean, that's kind of a fun way to get stuck.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, he's great. He's traveled the world, on his own, and he's lived all over the place. And just to hang out with him or travel with him, it's wonderful. He knows the culture of so many regions and the food and everything. So it's just great.
Oh yeah, and to circle back to, I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but could you elaborate a little bit on his Toshiro Mifune connection?
Oh yeah, Toshiro Mifune.
So we were just talking about Toshiro Mifune as the guy who played
Musashi.
And Sergio.
Yeah, Sergio's father was a film producer in Mexico, and he worked on movies with Toshiro Mifune when Mifune was just starting out in his career, and played Mexican roles. So, and yeah, Sergio, Mifune used to come over to my house. My mom used to make paella for him, and so it's kind of neat.
Doesn't he have like a picture of him
in
his wallet?
With both of them together. Yeah.
It's just so funny because like it's like I had no idea that Toshiro Mifune was starring in Mexican films, and to just see that kind of full circle of having Stan work with Sergio, who was like friends with Toshiro Mifune, and Toshiro Mifune was a big inspiration to Usagi. Yeah. It's like living in the Matrix or something.
And the funny, we used to play Mexican roles, so it wasn't a Japanese. He played like a Mexican.
I haven't seen any of those.
It's weird to know that there weren't enough Mexican actors in Mexico. They'd have to import people from Japan.
That's true. Yeah, I never knew that.
Some background information. Yeah. I do have to make a statement, since you talked about paella, and it's one of my favorite things ever. Like, you have to be very clear if you go to someone's house where their mom is feeding you paella. You have to know that in those cultures, they will keep feeding you paella until you tell them for sure, please stop. Because that culture is a definite, like, love food culture.
Yeah. And I've eaten Sergio's paella, and it's wonderful too. He cooks it on an open flame. So he has a big paella pan that's neat, yeah. Every so often come over, we'll have paella.
To me, it seems like all the ingredients that go into it seem like something you wouldn't just have around the house. Who has mussels laying around and all those things?
Or saffron.
You just have to go to the right culture house. They got it all the time, just in case. Okay, so I've had some questions come across. I think they've got bumped up a little bit, but there were people that were talking about Dogu, but I just wanted to talk first to you, Mr. Fuji, about the formation of that company. It's been, a lot of people think, it's a new thing, but it's actually been around for a while. How did that start? Was it something that just became necessary after so many years of success?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. So that's an interesting question. So Dogu, we officially formed it in, I think, July or June of last year. It was announced at Comic-Con, or no, I think around that time. And it just came out of the desire to keep expanding the Usagi universe. Stan's been with multiple publishers throughout his pretty elaborate career. So just felt like it was a time that time was right for him to have his own publishing company. As he mentioned, it takes him, because of his quality of work, it'll take him 5 to 10 years to see the story and see it to fruition. And in the process, I mean, so first of all, I'm a fan. So I've been reading Usagi since I was 6 years old. So I remember asking him questions about the Usagi universe, like Lord of the Owl. I think I was like 10 or something. And I talked to him about it, like, oh, are you going to bring him up in another storyline?
So also to put it in context, you're my stepson.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm, part of the family, part of the business. But yeah, there's all these interesting characters that Stan would kind of like tease out there. And, to be able to kind of elaborate on the world that he built, maybe having other creators tell different stories, side stories of Usagi was something of interest. And he just simply doesn't have the bandwidth because, even in this day and age, the digital age, Stan still hand draws every single panel of Usagi. He does all the backgrounds. He does the lettering. He does the writing. He does his own thumbnails. I mean, it's an incredible process. It's truly an art form. But the world of Usagi itself is so vast and so rich. We wanted to be able to tell more stories. And in that process, we were thinking about having an imprint. So yeah, that's pretty much how that came about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it. Okay, we've got some great questions that are coming in now. So I definitely want to ask these because they're amazing. All right, this one is from Leah, I think. This one is your pencil and inking over the years. What are the biggest changes you've noticed?
Ooh. Oh, biggest changes. It probably has to do with, and they're both subtle. One is the type of stories I'm telling now. I think in the past 40 years, I've matured as both an artist as well as a writer. So my stories, I think, now is it's deeper, has more layers to it, and at least that's what I think as far as my writing goes. Artwork, it's more the character designs. If you look at early drawings of Usagi versus how I'm drawing him now, there's a lot of changes. He looks very different, such as now he has a little bump for a nose, and he's much taller. Well, not taller, but his proportions are different. Mm-hmm. And that has evolved over time, and very subtly and unconscious on my part. It might be because the stories I'm writing now is more mature, so I might have started drawing Usagi more as a human type of proportions. Not quite, but I think those two things are very things that have changed over the last 40 years.
Yeah. Do you think that he started a little more chibi, a little more rounded?
Yeah, exactly. He was cuter and cuddlier. Speaking of chibi and stepson, I like to mention that Usagi Studios is basically a family. I'm married to Julie, and Julie and I collaborate on the chibi stories. There was a story that's Chibi Usagi and Attack of the Heebie-Chibis. It was a graphic novel, and that was published 2022, 2023, 2021. Anyway, it won an Eisner Award last year. Mm-hmm. And Daniel negotiated a contract with IDW. Julie and I did the writing, the artwork. She did the lettering, and Daniel's sister Emmy did the coloring. And
oh wow,
it was a true family project. So that was kind of neat, and we still continue that way. And actually, with Daniel on board and Jerry and Matthias, it's easier for me to step back and concentrate on doing the artwork, the story, and the writing, and they can take care of all the publishing and dealing with the licensees and everything.
Yeah, speaking of amazing collaborations, I was so excited when I heard that you guys had teamed up with Matthias. So if you guys don't know, everyone that's watching, if you don't know who Matthias is down there, he is, I know there's other people that have this moniker in our industry, but Matthias is actually the hardest working retailer in the business. He often gets like an hour and a half of sleep a night, and he will deny that, but I know from his posts that is true. And I know that he's going to put all of that same level of effort into making sure that Dogu gets into the hands of everybody that should have it. Matthias, how did this dream team happen? You weren't family members, so something special happened.
I actually was friends with Daniel, great guy, and he used to come into one of the shops that I ran, and it was a great honor where at one point he introduced me to Stan, and I was helping them go through Stan's unbelievably incredible comic collection. Stan, as much as he is a great comic creator, is obviously a big comic fan and had some unbelievable gems. I got to help Daniel sort through, and we just started talking shop, talking about the industry and the potential that Usagi has always had. And it is just really cool watching this already amazing series that has just developed in a million different brilliant ways just get bigger and bigger with their work with IDW, new Turtles crossovers, Shibu Usagi, which I think was absolutely phenomenal. And I get to now be on the inside and see what looks like we're going to be seeing in the 40th anniversary, not to mention just later this year at the Return to Dark Horse. There's a lot of really big things. So realistically, I'd say it was dumb luck, and just I'm very, very thankful that the Fuji and Sakai's are taking a chance with me. So I'm honored to be a part of the team and hopefully help bring it into more shops.
It's also great because Matthias brings retailers' perspective to Usagi Studios, and that's something that he's really invaluable in that sense.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. So that's so we would be talking different things of what's going on in the publishing circuit, and Dice was always generous with his information, with his network, with his contacts, and with his insight. And he would give me a lot of good practical, pragmatic, evidence-based insights on different programs, why they became successful. And, a large part of, I think, how it popped off at IDW was, in due part to some of the information that I got from Matthias. I would just feed it to the team and just say, hey, we need to do this. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. We should do that. And, but if I didn't have those conversations, those things, might be missed. And a lot of it was just low hanging fruit, just things people would forget. And it's like, oh, yeah, we should do that. And so I just got in the habit of picking his brain. And so we had our own publishing imprint, we're having a pretty aggressive variant program. I knew who to talk to and get his insight, because at the end of the day, we sell comics, right, to the fans and to the readers. But one of the most important people that we have to support is the retailers, right? They're the ones that actually get excited about the comic and talk to the readers about, why this is a good thing. So happy that we have him on the team. And we're
many publishers may have a retailer liaison on their staff, but we have an actual retailer.
So
I think that's really cool.
Absolutely.
There's a big difference, because there is this the way that things move through the system from creators through the publisher into the hands of retailers and into the hands of hopefully very many new fans is so important. And sometimes I find this as a retailer myself, there's a lot of people that I hear from my customers' feedback, but that doesn't often make it back up the chain so that, the people that are creating the books hear what is really resonating with the people that are reading them. Like, you guys should chime into the chats. What are the things that are resonating about this universe that really bring you back or make you want to share it with your friends or tell them that they need to add it to their pull box? What are the things that really move you to get into a new title or something that has been out there for a while that you're like, every single person I talk to, I hand them this book. It's always important for everybody to know how that works.
Well, it's intimidating because Usagi has a 4-year history. However, Usagi is very accessible to new readers.
Yes,
you can pick up almost any issue, and all you need to know is Usagi is a samurai rabbit, and he's masterless. So
I didn't even start with book 1 or book 2, and I was able to become a huge supporter of it. Stan's absolutely correct, and that's actually something that we that has gone up the grapevine. We actually just got through costing a solution to a kind of an entry book for Usagi. So
like inexpensive.
yeah, because like Stan said, I mean,
Yeah.
there's what 37 volumes. I mean, he
Yeah,
has over like
38, I think,
6,000
yeah.
pages maybe. And for the new reader, like it is daunting
Yeah.
to just pick something up. So we put together something that should help everybody, retailers, the consumers, everybody just find a nice little entry point into Usagi. Because my feeling, my personal feeling is that, you know, once you read it and you vibe with it, you're pretty much going to want to keep reading it. I mean, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But
Right.
you know, I do think that if you read it and you understand like the connection with it, then yeah, you'll probably want to read the whole thing.
Oh, thank you.
It's true.
Got
I
some
think
more
that's
good
one of my
ones.
favorite things about Usagi. Oh, my apologies.
Go ahead.
But no, that's one of my favorite things is I think we all, I mean, some of us have been reading since the beginning, but most of us have all kind of entered in various places with Usagi. And I think that's the best part about it. I personally, and I imagine Kyle is a similar fan in this, I was introduced to the character through the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. And I think the first story I read was the Lone Goat and Kid story, which I believe is volume 5 of Usagi. Yeah. And yet that was my entry point. I was able to enter and fall in love with the characters from that point. I know customers who have entered in with IDW decades into the series, and you can just grab almost any issue of Usagi Yojimbo and dive in and fall in love, and then you're hooked. And whether you're going back and reading the amazing back catalog of stories or you're just going from that point forward, it is a wonderful series and how it just allows any moment to be an entry point.
And that's something I always wanted, is to have the previous volumes always accessible. And I have to thank my publishers for that, particularly Fantagraphics and Dark Horse, because now they have the omnibus collections. And whenever they go out of print a little while later, it's back in print. And so I'm very happy for that.
Makes a big difference. I can tell you on the retail end, there's nothing worse than having a show announce, or like there's a new big series that's coming, but there's no back catalog to order for the customer base.
Exactly.
It's always like, oh, I'm just like, please help me.
We're going to make sure it's all back in print by end of year.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That
All
is
right, Sean says that he's in love with Japanese culture, so that's why Usagi appeals to him. And then Scuds Green says it started with a grass cutter saga.
Oh.
And then his dad had issues all the way back to Fantagraphics. So he went back to the beginning, caught some space Usagi, but otherwise it was easy to know where to start. That's perfect.
Excellent.
Good.
Thank you.
Good recommendations. Lilia wants to know. I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going to say the Grass Cutter is one of those stories that took a long time to write and research. It took about 5 years to do the research for that story. And I even, like I said, I was in California at that time, and I heard that about a museum in the East Coast. So I had a special exhibit, so I went there and just to do research. So yeah, that took a long time.
Where do you do your research? Do you just get on the internet, or do you like going to physical libraries or going to like museums?
Yeah, back then the internet was still pretty much in its infancy. So a lot of it was book research. Also, too, I set out word that, I need information on, such as what does grass cutter actually look like? And because the drawings of grass cutter that have been published recently are more in the style of a tachi, a samurai sword, whereas I knew the original grass cutter was more like tsurugi, the more Chinese style. So it took about 3 months for fans, looking for pictures, and another 2 months before it was verified that this is what grass cutter actually looked like.
So it is double bladed.
It is double bladed.
Interesting.
It's a Chinese style sword.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
See,
But I have a great fan base.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy. All right. 2 questions from Leah. Are you planning to revisit the Jotaro storyline? And the end of that arc was truly heartbreaking.
He's going to pop in and out. However, there's no big storyline planned for him anywhere in the near future. However, he could
You could
come
joke.
in, yeah,
Yeah.
because I have these landmark issues, but
Actually, right.
but
Yeah.
there are smaller issues, smaller stories between these big landmarks that I need to fill up, and
That's
maybe a
true.
Joe Taro story would be neat.
Yeah, we've been toying around too with the idea of just him telling side story
Yeah.
or like side characters. He did that in Glimpses of Death.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember that reading it. Like there's a Chizu Kagemaru story arc, right?
And the Tomoya story arc.
Tomoya story arc. Yeah, so like, and that's part of the idea of the imprint is because fans will still. I think want to read some of the side characters. I mean, I did, and I was super excited when I learned that there was like a dedicated story to a side character. Just to keep building out that the world. That's something that we're looking into.
You mentioned earlier the possibility of collaborating with people that have been interested in tackling some of those characters and side stories. I'm sure over the years you've been approached by many creators. Are there any that are still daily bugging you?
Well, actually, the series or the project you were talking about is called Usagi Yojimbo Kagemusha Shadow Warriors. And these are stories written, drawn by other creators that takes place in the Usagi universe. And we've talked to a number of creators, both actually, this is something I've been wanting to do for about 20 years. And we've got people from the US
prolific,
and internationally wanting to do it. Now that it's more solidified, we talked to people at Comic-Con just a few weeks ago. And we've got a number of commitments from people that, they want to do the Usagi story. So it's wonderful.
What is the time frame for when you intend to try to have all of that material put together?
Probably in time for the 40th.
I hope so.
I think it's feasible. We're going through the kind of the infrastructure process right now with Dark Horse, just to see what makes sense for a program. But given that it's the 40th anniversary next year, I think it's a good program to debut for the 40th. And then depending on, I think how we assess it, we can maybe continue it, maybe create some other side story, like continual arcs maybe. Yeah, we're just kind of testing it out. I think this is like the first time really that I think people have done major stories of Usagi, right? So just see how comfortable it is.
And it might not be the original Usagi; it could be his descendants.
That's true too. That's right. Yeah,
like Space Usagi or.
That's right. Yeah. So very very open to different concepts, ideas, whatever makes sense, as long as it falls into the canon. But
that would be wonderful. So I have a question. This is maybe getting into the weeds, but this is where always my head goes. You already own the rights to the creation and everything about it, and have been at bunches of different publishers out there, the things that match at the time, and they're all been wonderful. What is the difference between the way it's been functioning before and now under Dogu? What is the biggest? What does it mean to be an imprint that's different than before?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think probably the biggest thing was just from a bandwidth perspective. We've partnered with some pretty decent sized publishers, and they have a lot of different projects on hand. And given that our team is solely focused on Usagi and the Usagi universe, especially from a full scale approach, we recently were able to start producing some of our own products and merchandise now. So that's going to be really interesting, especially from a retailer program. But little teaser out there. But so just having more, I think, hands-on to the program. So before Stan, it was entirely a one-man marching band. Not only did he do everything for the comic itself, he had to do a lot of the business activities, right? And that's a lot for one person, right? So when I came on board, I helped take some of that, the burdens and the responsibilities of that, and the headache really, So he could focus purely on creative. I mean, he oversees everything, but that gave him more of a, because that's where we all want him, right? We don't want him to have to deal with all the contracts and all that stuff.
Writing copy.
Exactly. Well, like when Nickelodeon approached me to put Usagi in that 3-part Ninja Turtle story. My first, I don't have the time for this. I don't want to look at the contract. It's
a headache.
Yeah, it's a headache. So I said, I'll just tell them no. And then he said, I'll oversee this project. And so, we did, and it turned out to be a really good story. I helped write the first episode, and
that was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good story. And it was because of him. I would have just killed the deal right then and there.
And that's just because he has a lot on his plate. I mean, you really think about, he doesn't use any of the digital tools. He still hand draws everything. So to have to deal with overseeing marketing, social media stuff, right? PR stuff. It was just a lot, and so we just figured, instead of just kind of playing the waiting game and just seeing things maybe that weren't optimized simply because of bandwidth issues. I mean, they have many other properties. We're just like, you know what? We're building out an Usagi universe. We're building out, an Usagi entire program. Why don't we just full scale it? Just kind of take the responsibility of it, even though it is a bit more work. But at least, we can give our all. And that's what we want to do for this program, which is why Matthias is here.
Yes. But anyway, we should also talk about the upcoming number one. There's
Absolutely.
You number one?
Yeah. Good segue.
Good segue. See? Consummate professional. So what is coming up next? What are you guys super excited about? Oh, you have show and tell?
Yeah.
Show and tell.
This is the cover for the first Dark Horse. I guess it's Dark Horse Volume 2, number 1.
Volume 1, huh? Is there Volume 1?
I don't know. What this is for the first Dark Horse issue. It's a homage to
the first number 1.
First number 1 from Dark Horse. What was that, 20 years ago, 25 years ago?
Yeah, that's a good question.
But it's hand painted. It's watercolor.
Like 20.
And
it's got Yukichi on there.
Yukichi on it, yeah.
And Matthias, when does that come out for consumers?
Yes, so that will be releasing September 27th. In fact, it's actually going to be on final order cutoff for retailers this coming Monday. So tell your local comic shop if you want one. Usagi Yojimbo Ice and Snow number 1. There's actually going to be multiple covers too.
Oh, multiple covers. I've got multiple.
That was like interior page 1.
Yeah. I can say for Scotty Young fans, we have a Scotty Young.
Scotty Young's doing one. There's another cover.
Oh yeah, there's some retailer exclusive variants. That's actually going to be for your former comic shop in Hawaii, I believe. Correct? Other Realms.
Is that Other Realms?
Other Realms.
Oh, cool.
Other Realms, yeah. And this is for the Rose City Comic Con exclusive. Beautiful. I wanted roses, so I put some roses. Where's it? Down here. Yeah, that'll actually be the first place you can grab the book right before the weekend before release up in Portland. But this is the first page of Usagi number 1, and I love this story. This story features Jay as a villain. Jay is probably the most popular villain in the Usagi world, and people always, and they haven't met for about 5 years or so.
Yeah, actually, because you did number.
I mean, I would show Jay walking in the background, and
that's right. But you didn't. And then you were teasing him with Yukichi, right?
Yeah, and this is the first time that they're actually meeting again in like so many years, and people always ask me, "When's Jay coming back? When's Jay coming back?" But he's coming back with this issue. Yeah.
Oh no! Scott oh
no! Oh yeah, a little teaser too. You guys are really gonna like the number 2 issue cover on that.
A
little hint. Jay's gonna be maybe on there, and
I think we might have.
It's an interesting homage too. It's very epic.
Oh, yeah. We haven't talked about this.
Images of the alternate covers, maybe of the. Jay, do we have those real fast? Or just
that I don't think we have yet. Do we have that
for what? For number 2 or number 1?
For number 1.
Oh yeah.
Number one, yes.
Right, what it looks like with trade dress.
Yeah.
Now
But
you see me-
Young's
Oh,
doing
that's
it.
Scotty's.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Scotty's.
Oh,
That came out
I'm cold
great.
just looking at it.
Yeah. And that's
Wow.
Paulo Rivera's
Yeah.
cover.
That's
That's a
good.
cover
Good.
too.
I love
Look at
that.
those little dinosaurs in the snow.
Wow. I like the wood block.
Oops. Hello.
Oops, my bad. The wood block print on that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And,
Oh,
yes.
That's
what
your
we
kind
talk about
of-
next.
I should put out. This is the first
yes.
page of that story, Yokai Hunter, and I have a lot of detail. I love Japanese folklore, the yokai, haunts and monsters and goblins of Japanese folklore, and so this one has a lot. There's another. Sorry, I should have prepared this more, but yeah, here's a double-page spread.
Oh, wow.
A bunch of yokai that Usagi has to fight. And this, you can see it's Space Usagi. And this story acts as a bridge between classic Usagi and Space Usagi. And it introduces a new character that will, well, that character will be, say, a big part in the Usagi world later on, but it's going to be a recurring character. Oh, that's another. Is that Agnes's?
Oh, that's so
That's
beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so that looks like a short sword. Is that a different style of sword, or
Yeah,
is it
that's
just because he's a smaller guy?
It's no, it's just a style of drawing that they do the style. And that's Peach Momoko's cover. She's a sweetheart. Yeah.
Yeah.
What the talent.
Yeah, we met her for the first time at Comic-Con.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've been corresponding before, but that was the
Yeah.
first time we actually met.
face to face. Yeah, she was kind enough to do a signing at his booth, and yeah, it was a very well received signing.
I saw the line.
Online.
I should point out for those that were interested in the Space Usagi Yokai Hunter, that'll be out October 11th. Once again, let your local comic shop know you want it, because I think that one is, I'm going to guarantee you, be under ordered once everyone realizes what it is. It is going to be big.
Definitely
Okay,
key
so
issue.
you guys heard it from them that that's going to be a bridge. So when you hear also Matthias tell you that it's going to be important, it is very, and it helps local comic shops so much. If you would just go and tell them now, so you totally will not miss out on any of those books. It'll make all the difference, and it'll help. It actually helps us understand future orders for all of those books too. So if we see a strong out for number 1, we know that we need to be strong for 2. And once you add it to your pull box, it means all of those orders are strong outside of that.
And you saw
proper pronunciation of your surname, Sakai or Sakai.
And you had seen on Yokai Hunter, it said Space Usagi. And we are bringing Space Usagi back. First, it will start as a coloring of the original miniseries. And later on, we'll go on to new Space Usagi stories.
Actually, on that note, I want to show off a little. We made a little Dogu publishing edition.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
also the neck action
the toys,
figure.
yeah.
So this is a Space Usagi
Action figure.
Is he a black and white figure?
Yes, black and white figure. So you've been doing these. Yeah. So Space Usagi has some plans for him too.
Yeah.
Are those only available in y'all's direct shop, or are they something they could find at LCS's? Or
So black and white.
I think Target
is probably. I think we're just doing the black and whites. I could
really?
be wrong about that.
I thought Target. I thought it's
well, Target's doing the regular edition,
Uh-huh.
which is fully colorized. I think that's going to be released sometime in October. Could be wrong. But yeah, just a little segue into things. Yeah, maybe we'll start releasing those with comics too, different covers.
Ooh,
Just
I like
a lot of fun things to play with.
And our production team says original series in color. Shut up and take my money.
Thank you. Oh, Emmy colored the
Space
Usagi.
Usagi.
Yeah. She colored the first issue. No, she's coloring the whole series, isn't she?
Yeah, she did the whole.
yeah,
She's doing
is
the whole series. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be 9 issues, a three-issue miniseries.
Yeah, she's good at that.
She's a good colorist.
She's really good.
The neat thing about Emmy doing the coloring is that she's here, so if she has any questions or I'm right there to say, you know, make the sky blue or something, whatever.
Approvals go real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're here in the last couple minutes before we start doing our giveaway. I definitely want you guys to be able to say everything that you want to and tease as much as you want to. Is there anything that you guys want to tell our audience that makes them super cool for knowing inside information other than the giant stuff you guys have already dropped? They weren't actually paying attention.
Well, I'm excited about the new series from Dark Horse. I've already completed the first 5 issues. I'm working on the 6th issue now, so I'm pretty far ahead of deadline, and I'm really excited about the story.
What is your, this is a weird in the weeds also, what is your normal output? Are you a page a day beginning to end every 2 days?
Beginning to end, it takes about 5 weeks for me to do a complete story from the story idea to finish artwork at the black and white stage. From there, it goes to a colorist, whether it's Emmy or Hi-Fi. And like I said, about 5 weeks. My usual work day is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I go hiking in the morning. Tuesday, Thursday.
Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
He works all day.
Yeah.
All day, every day. Yeah.
I mean, we all
It's
do
true.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's because we're passionate about it, right?
Yeah.
So one of the cool things I want to point out about that, as you mentioned, the 6th issue, with this new release, we're going to have not only a brand new #1 with Ice and Snow #1, but we're going to have legacy numbering finally on Usagi Yojimbo. So issue #1 will actually be issue 270. So the issue Stan is currently working on will be the big 275. And you will be able to track these issues very easily, seeing the legacy numbering on the cover.
See, that's a retailer input thing. I can guarantee it.
Well, that's something I wanted as well. It's like, you know, because I've been doing Usagi for so long, I like to acknowledge that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm waiting for that big issue 300.
Oh yeah. See,
there you
that's
go.
75, so that's 25 issues from now. So that's probably about 4 or 5 years. So probably
I
right in
guess
time
so.
for 45, maybe.
Before that.
44?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Take that, Dave Sim. You think you got 300 issues? I'll get 300 issues.
Well, this is perfect. Do you guys want to tell everybody where is the best place to follow you, to follow what the new imprint is doing?
Probably stansakai.com. We're working on a dogupublishing.com. Stan socials, Facebook, Instagram. Those are probably the most active.
Official Stan Sakai?
Yeah, official Stan Sakai.
Yeah.
I think
official
on Facebook.
On Facebook, yeah.
Yeah.
Official Stan Sakai. Okay.
Yeah. So
I did actually find, you guys should also, if you want to be part of the Cool Kids group, you can find Dogu Publishing also is on at least Twitter and Facebook. You can find those and add them to your piles of things you like to follow because they're awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Do you guys want to be here for the fun giveaway?
I would.
Sure.
I'd like to see that.
All right, this is gonna be a blast. Okay, final call. Like I give you like 1 minute to put it in the hashtag because we're gonna put it in the I don't know, whatever fancy StreamYard random choose-a-fire. That's not a real word. And we'll make sure that we give away you guys this really awesome slab. And just a reminder for everybody that's here that maybe isn't subscribed yet, we want to continue to bring you this kind of awesome content. Thanks so much to our guests. That's why this industry is the best industry there ever was. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, well, you'll always get notification no matter, it won't be annoying like all the rest of the notifications there are that get on your phone. This will be the one you want to hear so that you can never miss another interview or any of our other awesome programming. So, all right, I'm going to do countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Here is the fun spin.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
this
that's
is
kind of
cool.
neat.
Wow.
It's Boji 777.
Congratulations. Wow.
Congratulations. We're going to show you what it is here in a second, but make sure you absolutely over there comment. There is a giveaway that you need to fill out. Please fill out the giveaway fully, including what you won. If it is not claimed in such a way within 24 hours, it'll go back into the kitty of giveaways. And we don't want that. We want you to have your cool thing. So what are we giving them? What is a cool thing?
This is going to be Mighty Morphin Power Rangers #1. This is the launch party kit variant.
Oh.
9.8.
9.8. Yeah.
9.8. Wow.
9.8. Thank you so much. That was provided by Nick Brucci, who is, he loves comics just as much as all the rest of us, maybe even more. So thanks so much to him for providing this awesome thing. This is the experience. We're super happy to have you guys. Final call. You can ask like 1 second question.
I think somebody asked where they can buy the exclusives.
Go ahead. That's great.
Yeah, so like any of the Sakai exclusives could be found on Stan's website, just stansakai.com. We have an e-commerce site there. But yeah, I think any of the other exclusives, if they're retailer exclusive, they'll probably have a list of the retailers and the names.
Go buy my favorite thing. Go get yourself a fluffy little chibi Usagi.
Oh yeah. Oh, we should have.
We didn't have it in the background.
A
little mascot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody so much for being here. Thank you, Matthias, for coming and taking time out of your FOC part of your day. I appreciate that very much. And it's been an honor so much. Mr. Sakai, you have no idea. I started comics in 92, which puts me firmly way after you started, but it was a big influence in my decision to be part of this community for the rest of my life. So
thank you, Ms. Jen. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate y'all. Thanks, guys. Stick around. We've got other great programming coming up on The Experience. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere The Experience is all the time.